Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi just solved a 45-year-old Star Wars plot hole that I didn't even know existed. Hey guys, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing editor here at CinemaBlend, here to discuss the first two episodes of Disney Plus's new Star Wars show, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The first two episodes dropped onto the streaming service, setting up a 6-part saga that is catching up with Ewan McGregor's classic character who we last saw in Revenge of the Sith, and is setting up this sort of story gap that exists between the last prequel entry and then of course Star Wars A New Hope, the one that introduced audiences around the globe to the saga. So there's a lot of questions that we know need to be answered by this show, and then in particular with today, a massive question about Star Wars that gets answered in this in these opening two episodes that we didn't even really think about until we saw the answer to it. So clearly, as you can tell, we're going to get into spoilers for the first two episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So if you haven't seen them yet, go watch them now. They're on Disney Plus. Then come back and watch this video. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on your notifications so that every time we put a new video up, you'll be able to come and watch it. And so if you've seen the two episodes, let's keep going, because there's something really fascinating with a surprise character that I didn't know was coming that I know you guys are going to want to know about. So naturally, the character in question I'm talking about is Princess Leia. And if you have been paying attention to the Star Wars message boards and tracking all the rumors about Obi-Wan Kenobi before the show dropped, you might have been aware of the fact that Leia was going to be a driving character. And it's true, I had heard from a friend of mine that she was going to be the reason that Obi-Wan Kenobi leaves Tatooine and embarks on the mission that's going to be the driving point of this story. But I kind of forgot it, and then so I was pleasantly surprised and completely shocked to see Leia show up as a major character. I love that opening scene where you're seeing her character getting dressed in these royal garbs when they turned around and sort of did the bait and switch that's become part of Star Wars, where you see a different character standing in for the princess, and then Leia's off on her own little adventure. I thought that was a great way to nod to her. And I just thought the actress playing little Leia was so fantastic in terms of having the spunk that we associate with Carrie Fisher. But even when I kind of made the connection of like, oh, it's Bail Organa, and I forgot that Bail Organa had even taken Leia under his wing at the end of Revenge of the Sith. It was still a shock to realize how important that she is going to be to this plot moving forward. It's, you know, I don't want to make the Baby Yoda comparison, but in a way, you know, having Leia as his charge gives Obi-Wan sort of the same driving push that Mandalorian had when he had to sort of protect Grogu and bring him back to a specific place, and Obi-Wan's gonna have to sort of protect Leia for as long as he can, because they're both now being pursued by the Inquisitors. The question that gets raised by the existence of Leia ties back to a line that is pivotal to A New Hope, so let's talk about that in our next point.
At last, where have you been?
So remember back to the beginning of New Hope when Darth Vader is tracking down Princess Leia, and obviously she is a thorn in the side of the Empire and is a really important person in the rebellion. We don't really know how she gets to that point, but when it looks like she's completely trapped and needs to send a message to someone who she knows is going to be able to help, she records the line,
"Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope."
But I never once stopped to think about the fact that Ben Kenobi is supposed to be this recluse living on Tatooine and protecting Luke Skywalker from afar. But if he's been doing that since the time that he left in Revenge of the Sith, then Leia shouldn't know who he is. Like, I never made that connection at all. But now, by making Princess Leia a significant part of this Obi-Wan Kenobi series and establishing a relationship between her and Ben Kenobi, it goes to show that they have a relationship and have been on some sort of adventures where they have established a trust for each other. And that gets brought up a lot in episode 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi about why should she be able to trust him? Does she really think he's a Jedi? And of course, all those things are going to get answered over the course of this series. But maybe I'm completely ignorant, but I just never once thought of like, oh, how does Leia know who Obi-Wan Kenobi even is if he was present at her birth and then, you know, absent for the rest of that time, and her being adopted by the Organas and then raised by them at their palace, which we finally get a chance to see. So it's terrific, the fact that they've established this relationship between Ben and Leia, and I also think that it means that we can get a lot more insight into Leia, not just in this saga, but in a couple of other Star Wars projects moving forward. I want to talk about them next.
Okay, then let's go.
So a lot of stuff has been made about the fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show, is going to bridge a bunch of the gap stories between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, specifically focusing on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, because they obviously have a lot of unresolved issues, and you kind of learn at the end that Anakin has been tracking his old master. We get that tremendous shot of Hayden Christensen waking up inside of the tank where Darth Vader hangs out when he's not in his suit. But the introduction of Leia at this age, her being a 10-year-old, means that there's so many other stories that you can tell with Princess Leia moving forward that would bring her up to speed with where we are by the time we meet her at the beginning of A New Hope. And again, you don't really stop to think of, like, what did she do over the course of those early years to make her such a trusted leader in the rebellion? Like, how did she go out of her way to become this problem that Darth Vader feels like he needs to take care of himself? Vader knows that this is his daughter, but she's not aware of this at all. And so we have to answer a bunch of different questions about Vader's recognition of both Luke and Leia. And we have a story on CinemaBlend about why Hayden Christensen thinks that it was really, really smart for Ben Kenobi to bring Luke as a baby to Tatooine, and it has to do with his history with Tatooine as a location. But now there's a lot of things I really want to know about Leia's existence. So it'd be really great if, like, I'm not trying to keep continuing mining the original trilogy, but a 6-part Leia story when she's a late teenager and doing more things for the rebellion would be a really great way to sort of tell more of her story in those pivotal years and continue to bridge that gap between the arrival of Star Wars: A New Hope, when a lot of stuff must have happened. We know that Luke stays on Tatooine. He doesn't go anywhere. But it was great when Bail Organa says,
"My duty is to the boy."
What about your duty to his sister? She's as important as he is.
So fantastic establishment of this character, who, again, I didn't even realize was going to be in the show, let alone such a important part of the narrative. And I cannot wait to see how Leia, above anyone else really, develops over the course of the remaining 4 episodes. That's right, we have 2 episodes so far in the bag for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Episode 3 is going to drop next week, and then the remaining 3 will branch off onto a week-by-week basis. So you want to make sure that you're here on CinemaBlend, because we're going to be breaking down the things that we find most intriguing about what is already a fascinating show. To make sure you don't miss a video, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and we'll meet you back here when the 3rd episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi arrives on Disney+.